One of the questions we get is, will it make an L cut? So I've marked out an L cut, and let's make it. Another question we get regarding the IQ TS244 is, will it cut metal face tile and edging? There's no quick answer to that, because tile saws, wet or dry, in general are not made to cut metal. Will they cut metal? Yes. And if you need to make a cut on occasion, yes, the dry cut tile saw will do that, just like a wet cutting saw. But generally speaking, tile saws are not metal cutting saws. Let's take a few minutes and talk about diamond blades, and this applies to dry saws and wet cutting saws. Now with a tile saw you can cut very soft material like this clay tile that's very, very soft, or you can cut very hard material like this black granite. And you can do that with the same tile saw, wet or dry, and sometimes with the same blade. But what becomes very important is the maintenance of that blade. You got to imagine there's little diamond chunks on that blade, and they're being held in position by the metal of the diamond blade. If you go from soft material to hard material, sometimes what happens is the diamond chunks break away from the metal. Now you only have metal. Metal does not cut. You need to expose diamond. So what's good is to use a dressing stone. Dressing stone goes in, wears the metal back, exposing fresh diamond. And that's very important to clean cutting. Also, something that can happen is when you're cutting certain types of material, residue can build up on the blade. A dressing tool also is very good at getting rid of that residue. So let's go in and demonstrate how you sharpen a blade with a dressing stone. Let's take a minute and talk about cutting speed. With the IQ TS244, typically it cuts about 1 second per inch of material. And that's just an average. Some things cut faster, some things cut slower. But something to keep in mind when cutting, either with dry saws or wet cutting saws, you need to adjust your feed pressure or your cutting speed depending on the material. So for example, with hard black granite, you may cut a little bit slower. Same with porcelain. With real soft materials like this clay tile, you're going to cut faster. But something to keep in mind is if when you're making a cut and you start to get a wavy line, that's because your feed pressure is too fast. You need to slow down. And that just takes a bit of technique, some experience. Know your materials and how fast you can cut them in order to get a nice straight cut. People keep asking us, how does that blade stay cool without the water? The answer is this: it's a specially designed blade or matrix to stay cool while cutting. But it also works in conjunction with the airflow of the vacuum. Notice these grooves on the table. Those grooves on the table are channeling air right underneath the tile and hitting the blade exactly where it's cutting. So right after that blade cuts, it's getting a cooling air that's cooling the blade off and being sucked down into the vacuum. So instead of water, we're using air to cool the blade. And that essentially is how the blade stays cool while cutting.